welcome back to another video. In this series we're going to be looking at the different questions that were answered really poorly on actual GCSE exams. What I'd advise you do if you're preparing for mocks or your actual GCSE is look at the question, pause the video, have a go completely by yourself. If you're completely getting stuck, watch a little bit, see if that triggers something, pause it again, have a go. But do your best to have a go, don't just watch the answer straight away. Okay, awesome. So let's get into it. So this is our first question. We've got work out an estimate for the value of 0.49 times 0.61 squared. And I should have mentioned before, but this is a non-calculator paper. So the key word that we have here is this word, estimate. And the word estimate, when you see it in a GCSE exam, especially on a non-calculator paper, means round to an easy number. So they don't actually want you to do 0.49 times 0.61, square it for 2 marks. They want you to make it easy. So we're going to round to easy numbers. So I'm going to round to 0.5, because that's easy, and then 0.6, because that's also easy. And then we've got 0.5 times 0.6. So what we're going to do here, or what I would recommend, is think, well, what is 5 times 6? And we all know that's 30. And then we have to think, well, this one is 10 times smaller and this one's 10 times smaller. So we want to go 100 times smaller than 30. So our answer to 0.5 times 0.6 is 0.3. And then we need to do 0.3 squared. So again, we've got, well, what's 3 squared? 3 squared is 9. I'll write it up here. But 0.3 is 10 times smaller than 9, and we've done that twice. So we need to go 100 times smaller than 9. So that will give us 0.09 for our answer for 0.3 squared. Okay, so this is our second question, and this one was only answered correctly by 8.6% of students. So this time we've got rearrange y equals p minus 2qx squared to make x a subject of the formula. Okay, so the way I would first approach this is, if we want to make x a subject, we're going to want it to be positive. So I would just add this to the other side and make it positive. So we've got 2qx squared plus y equals p. I would then subtract our y. So we've got 2qx squared equals p minus y. I would then divide by our 2q, because these are times by x, so when we're rearranging equations, we always want to do the opposite to get rid of it, if you will. So here we've got 2 times q times x squared, so we want x squared on its own, so we need to do the opposite to 2 and q, which means we're going to divide by 2 and q. So we've got x squared equals p minus y over 2q. And then to get rid of the square root, which I do think sometimes confuses people, all we have to do is square it, especially in these questions. Don't let the letters confuse you, just write kind of the opposite and you'll be fine. So instead of like trying to work out the square root or getting confused, just write the square root. Okay, so our answer is x equals the square root of p minus y over 2q. And we've got a similar one here. So this one was only answered correctly by 7% of students and is 4 marks. So we've got make k the subject of the formula when we've got t equals k over k minus 2. So the first thing I'm going to do here is times up by k minus 2. So we have t times k minus 2. It's always easier if you have something like this with a fraction to kind of get rid of the fraction by timesing everything else in the equation by what's on the bottom. So we've got tk minus 2 equals k. And then I'm going to multiply out by t. So we've got tk minus 2t equals k. Now at this point we have two k's, so it makes it a little bit tricky to find the subject. But if you ever find yourself in this situation, what you want to do is get both the k's on the same side. So I'm going to say, well, we've got tk. If we subtract this k off, and we're going to add this one onto the other side, so we've got tk minus k equals 2t. And then the bit people struggle with is this next step. So what you want to do is take k out as a factor. So just like you would factorise brackets, we're going to write k on the outside and then think about what needs to go in these brackets, so that when we multiply them out by k, we get this answer up here. So we've got tk, so something times k needs to equal tk, so that's just going to be t. And then something times k needs to equal minus k, so that's going to be -1. And that is all equal to 2t. And then our last step is we want k equals, so we're going to divide by this bracket. So we've got 2t divided by t minus 1. And that's your answer. Again, well done if you got that one. Okay, so this time we've got a probability tree. So we have 2 boxes, 6 black, 4 white, counters in box A, 7 black and 3 white, counters in box B. Jan is going to take a random counter from A and put it in B, and then a random counter from B and put it in A. Complete the probability tree diagram. So it's a little bit complicated when we're reading it. It's maybe not completely obvious what we're meant to do, or maybe we feel a bit unsure because we've not seen a question like this before. But what I'd say is let's think about it really logically. So the first thing we've got is, what's the probability that firstly Jan takes a black counter from A. So we're only at this moment in time focusing on box A. So we've got 6 black and 4 white. So the probability that she takes a black counter, is going to be 6 out of 10. Probability that she takes a white counter is 4 out of 10. Now, if she takes a black counter and puts it in B, I think the first thing we need to work out is how many would we have in total in B. So at this point in B, we would have 7 plus 3 plus our 1 from A, so we'd have them all out of 11. And so we've picked a black one here. We'd usually have 7 black, but we've added a black one, so that's 8 out of 11. And this one will be 3 because the white's not changed. This time we'd have 7 black because we've already picked a white one, and we'd have 4 white. And that would be your answer for the tree diagram. We've then, if we scroll down, we've got find the probability that after Jan has put the counter from box B into box A, there will still be 6 black counters and 4 white counters in box A. So I think what's probably confused people on this question is the A's and the B's and the counters, because it is a little bit complicated. So we've got, after it's gone from B into A, we want 6 black counters and 4 white counters in A. So what I would do for this one is have a little look at our box A and think, right, well, how many do we have after each row? So in this one, we have took a black out of A, and then we've put a black back in A. So actually, in this one, we're going to have 7 black. Oh wait, no, sorry. I'm reading the wrong line. We're going to have 6 black and 4 white, because A is not actually going to change in that one. And it's the same here at the bottom with white. We've took a white out, we've popped a white back in. So we're going to stick with 6 black, 4 white. So that's nice and easy. Now in this one, we've taken a black out. So at this point we have 5 black in A, and we've put a white back in. So in this one, we actually have 5 black and 4 white. Wait, no, black can't be right. I keep reading the counters from box B. We have 5 white, and that's because we started with 4 white and we've added another one. And it's the same here, so we've took a white out and then we've added a black. So this time we've got 7 black, 3 white. And you can double check them by making sure they all add up to 10. So our question is, what is the probability that there will still be 6 black counters and 4 white counters in box A? And that is these two here. So to find the probability of these two, we're going to times the lines together. So we've got 6/10 times 8/11, which is going to give us 48 over 110, and then we've got 4/10 times 4/11, which is going to give us 16 over 110. And then we just want to add those together. So we've got 48 plus 16, and that will give us 64 over 110. And that would be your answer. Okay, we've got our last question now of this video. So this time we've got to solve the equation x over 2 minus 2 over x plus 1 equals 1. So to do this, like I was saying before, if we have kind of an algebraic fraction or even a normal fraction and we're trying to solve an equation, it can be really helpful just to get rid of the fractions on the bottom. And to do that, we're going to times everything else in the equation by what's on the bottom. So I'm going to get rid of this 2 first because I think that's going to be easier. So I'm going to times everything in the equation by 2. So we've got a half x times 2 is just going to be x, minus 2 over x plus 1 times 2, so that'll give us 4 over x plus 1 is equal to 2. And then we're going to times everything in the equation by x plus 1, so exactly the same, but this time we've got x squared plus x minus 4 is going to equal 2x plus 2. And then if we rearrange that a bit, we have x squared, we can do x minus 2x, so that will give us negative x, minus 4 minus 2, which will give us minus 6, is equal to 0. And then to solve this equation, we are going to want to factorise. So to factorise, I'm going to times the number in front of x squared by the number at the end, so that will give us 6. I'm then going to find the factors of 6, and I'm going to see which ones have a difference of whatever number is in front of this x here, which is 1. So 2 and 3 have a difference of 1, and we want to get to minus 1. So I'm going to do 2 and have a positive 2 and a negative 3. And we're going to replace this x in the middle with 2x and negative 3x. If we work that out, it will get back to our minus x, but that helps us factorise. We're then going to split it down the middle and factorise this one first. So we've got x on the outside and x plus 2. We can copy the x plus 2 over, and then we want to look how we get from this to this, and for that we're going to need a negative 3 on the outside. So when we take our final brackets, we have x plus 2, x minus 3. So if we want to solve this equation, then x could equal 2 or x could equal 3. Perfect, really well done if you got any of those correct. Remember, lots of people didn't, so if you got any of these right, then that's a really good start. If you're struggling with any of the concept, I've got loads of videos that go into more depth, so it'll explain things like how to factorise, probability and things like that, so have a little look. But well done, and if you've got any questions, pop them in the comments. Thank you for watching.